Good day everyone. I'm Paolo Klima and I will be presenting the auditing function and activities. Introduction. By basic definition, auditing business function and activities is a crucial process in ensuring the efficiency, effectiveness, and compliance of an organization's operation. To explain it further, auditing is an essential component of a company's quality management system aimed at verifying whether the organization is meeting the defined quality requirements and continuously improving its processes. Firstly is auditing the project management of a specific organization. Key objective here when auditing an organization's project is that internal auditors need to ensure project management's framework and methodology should clearly define how the project should be conducted. And also there is a required documentation and key metrics for auditing the project management. So the important documents, example of that is important documents when reviewing project management. So the example is budget, project charter, list of key suppliers, and so another key objective of the audit is dapat sure na coordinated and aligned yung project sa pag-reach ng organizational objectives ng client nila. At syempre dapat pasok din sa budget. Relating to the auditing project management of an organization, the key actions by phase. So it has 4 stages. The first stage is initiation, where the internal auditor will obtain and review projects' key objectives, scope, budget, and deliverables milestones, and also the timeline. Also to identify the stakeholders of the project and verify their interests are being captured and addressed. Next is planning. Planning is where the internal auditor review and verify the documentation of the business requirement of the project. Thirdly, executing, where the internal auditor will review if the project is progressing or advancing as planned. And lastly, closing, where the auditing function and activities during the closing phase are critical to ensuring that the project has been executed according to the defined standards, objectives, and requirements of the organization. Next, contracts and contracting. Basic definition, contracts are written agreements that are enforceable by law. The internal auditor should examine that all relevant requirements are documented clearly in the contract. There is a methodology for valuing percentage. There must be a methodology for valuing percentage of work completion and authorization for interim payments. And in addition to that, it's important to examine that the organization has all the significant agreements ratified through the contract. Next is purchasing, vendor selection, and management. Purchasing, vendor selection, and management are critical aspects of business operations, and auditing function and activities in these areas are essential to ensure transparency, efficiency, and compliance with organizational policies and standards. Vendor selection, it is the process of choosing suppliers or service providers based on criteria such as quality, cost, reliability, and reputation. Auditing functions related to vendor selection focus on ensuring that the selection process is objective, transparent, and compliant with organizational standards. Next is vendor management or management. Involves overseeing relationships with suppliers, ensuring they deliver goods or services as per agreed terms, and maintaining a positive business relationship. Typical audit function related to vendor management focus on ensuring that the vendor performance is monitored, contracts are adhered to, and relationships are mutually beneficial. Auditors in vendor management assess communication between the organization and vendors to ensure transparency, responsiveness, and effective conflict resolution. Next is bidding. Bidding in the context of business and procurement refers to the competitive process through which suppliers or service providers submit proposals or quotes to win a contract or project. Auditing functions and activities related to bidding are essential to ensure that the bidding process is fair, transparent, and complies with established rules and regulation. Typical audit activities of an internal auditor is to review bid documents to confirm completeness and accuracy. So in addition, they also verify submission timelines to prevent late or early bids, ensuring fairness among all the bidders. Next is pricing. So pricing in the context of auditing function and activities refers to the process of evaluating the prices set for goods, services, or contracts. So auditors play a critical role in assessing pricing strategies and ensuring that they are fair, transparent, and comply with relevant regulations. So typical audit procedures to satisfy audit key objectives of pricing is reviewing pricing documents, catalogs, or online platforms to confirm that prices are clearly stated and there are no hidden fees or ambiguous pricing structures. And it is also important to assess whether prices are communicated transparently to customers and clients. Next, so product receipt typically refers to the process of receiving goods or products from suppliers and ensuring that they meet the specified quality standards and requirements. So this step is crucial in any supply chain management system as it directly impacts the quality of products that an organization delivers to its customers. So typical audit activities for product receipt is that the internal auditors will review the receiving procedures to ensure that they are clearly documented, communicated, and followed. Also, to assess whether the staff responsible for receiving products are trained and following the established protocols. And in addition, internal auditors also assess the methods used, the criteria for acceptance or rejection, and the accuracy of inspection records, and ensure that the inspection process is consistent and that defective products are appropriately identified and documented. Next is the human resources and recruitment. So, human resources or HR and recruitment involves the systematic evaluation of auditing. HR and recruitment involves the systematic evaluation of HR processes and recruitment activities within a specific organization. And the internal auditor's objective is to ensure that HR practices are effective, compliant with laws and regulations, and aligned with organizational goals. So, typical audit activities would include assessing recruitment procedures to ensure fairness, consistency, and compliance with equal opportunity laws and review job postings, interview notes, and candidate evaluation. To verify the selections are based on merit and qualifications, they also assess documentations related to employee rights, working conditions, and equal opportunity employment to ensure legal compliance with local, national, and international labor laws. So next is training development. So when auditing training and development of an organization, the typical goal of an internal auditor is to ensure that these programs are effective, aligned with the organizational goals and objectives, and provide employees with the skills and knowledge they need to perform their jobs effectively and efficiently. And the audit activities that pertains to training and development includes reviewing of records, conduct surveys, and interview employees to understand how training needs are determined to assess the accuracy of these specific assessments. So in addition to that, internal auditors observe training sessions, interview participants, and analyze feedback to determine the effectiveness of trainers and in engaging participants and fostering a conductive learning environment. Auditing employee benefits. So basically for employee benefits, the objective of an internal auditor is to calculate and record is to verify that the employee benefits are being calculated and uh, getting recorded accurately. So because failure to comply with the mandated employee benefit programs can result in fines, penalties, and reputation damage to the organization. So for employee termination, the internal auditor must ensure that the terminations are being dealt with appropriately. So this includes the termination of compensation, and if ever the specific employee terminated has a specific asset on his or her possession, it must be recovered. And also the removal of the terminated employee's payroll. Next is employee evaluation. So where the internal auditor's objective is to ensure that these evaluations are fair, objective, and aligned with organizational goals. So in addition, auditing employee evaluation helps identifying areas of improvement, ensuring legal compliance, and promoting a positive work culture of an organization. Next, so in general, when auditing accounting, finance, and treasury operations, in these areas play a crucial role in ensuring accuracy, compliance, and transparency in financial reporting. And to be more specific, these units are primarily concerned with the treasury, payroll, accounts payable, accounts receivable, fixed assets, and inventory. And so, the key objective of an internal auditor here is to ensure the completeness, existence, and correct valuation of these specific accounts, since this can cause an excessive disbursement of assets. So, for example, accounts payable, it's possible that the specific organization for will pay for the goods that is not received. Also, there can be fictitious amounts of accounts receivable to overstate the overall asset to cover up a specific fraud committed by an employee. And because of ineffective recording and inspection of fixed assets, it can lead to a specific fixed asset being lost or stolen. Same with inventory. Hmm. The objective in auditing information technology is to evaluate the client's IT systems, processes, and controls to ensure they are effective, secure, and compliant with regulatory requirements. And auditing IT functions are essential for identifying vulnerabilities, mitigating risk, and safeguarding sensitive or confidential data. And under it are the following. So firstly is IT processing, auditing IT processing operations. And the objective of an internal auditor is to examine if the IT processing operations and the data within it are reliable, and also its security. So the operating system must be capable of preventing unauthorized access of an unknown user to the systems and confidential data. Also, the internal auditor must check if the operating software being used by the organization is authorized and legally licensed. Backups and storage, where it must be examined if the organization's data are protected from loss, damage, and theft. IT access must be checked if the operating systems of the organizations are protected from unauthorized access and data extraction of an unknown user. So next is personal devices, where the primary objective is to ensure that it is used the personal devices of a specific organization is used consistently and securely. So, and also, effective physical controls are being used to prevent loss, theft, and damage to the personal devices of an organization. And lastly is system development. So, it must be assessed that the system development are authorized and truly support the achievement of the organization's strategic objectives. So foundations, so this specific function is used to enhance the organization's image, coordinate their charitable giving, enjoy tax benefits, and in general focus, track, and promote their philanthropic efforts. And the common key risk here is that the funds that will be used in providing assistance to local communities are being misused. And the primary objective of an internal auditor here is to ensure that the funds are being used according to the objective of the organization. Next is auditing the management of an organization. So it involves evaluating the effectiveness of managerial processes, decision making, and leadership practices within the organization. And the goal of an internal auditor is to assess whether the management team is operating efficiently, ethically, and in alignment with the organization's goals and objectives. So, typical audit activities of an internal auditor are evaluating governance policies and reviewing leadership competency and ethical standards to make sure that the management leads by example. Also, internal auditors review strategic plans, analyzing decision making frameworks, and assessing the alignment of decisions with organizational goals to make sure that the enterprise, business unit, departments, or managers and staff have clear business objectives. Next is the ethics hotlines, or ethical hotlines, where the primary objective of an internal auditor is to ensure ethics hotline is a key component of the organization's ethics program, and the organization is protected from the whistleblowers. And when you say whistleblowing, so it pertains to the disclosing information to the public or some higher authority about any wrongdoing, which could be in the form of fraud, corruption, okay? And most importantly, the internal auditor must ensure that the employees won't forget how to contact the specific ethical hotlines. And last but not the least is auditing production. So it refers to the process of evaluating and examining a company's production function and activities to ensure efficiency, effectiveness, compliance with regulation, and accuracy in financial reporting. So, typical audit activities of an internal auditor will include evaluating the utilization of resources, time management, and overall productivity to identify areas where processes can still be streamlined or improved to enhance productivity and reduce cost. Also, it needs to be evaluated or examined in terms of compliance of production processes. So this includes environmental regulations, safety standards, and labor laws because non-compliance can lead to legal issues, fines, and damage to the company's reputation. And with that, my presentation is finished. Thank you.